Welcome back to my channel. I have a report from Insider Information, rising tensions in the White House. The reporter discusses reports that Chief of Staff Susie Wiles advised Vance to take a break from social media due to his frequent online conflicts. After this, I will discuss something else. After this, I will tell you what Trump told Vance, the worst news possible that he gave to JD Vance. Now, this media, due to his frequent online conflicts, Susie Wiles told JD Vance take a break from social media, which are viewed as beneath his office. Trump's public and private criticism. This reporter, this Insider Information, highlights a circulating video clip where Trump appears annoyed by Vance's tendency to interrupt and chime in during conversations. Furthermore, he cites reporting from New York Times detailing how Trump has privately vented to allies, labeling Vance a quote-unquote disaster and expressing frustration over his performance and vacation habits. Donald Trump, if he could, right now I think it's a little bit too late, he would have replaced JD Vance with Jared Kushner. The reason I'm saying that is because if you remember when he sent his delegation, his negotiators to Pakistan to negotiate with Iran, he never mentioned anything about JD Vance. In contrary, U.S. officials, they said the negotiating team will be headed by JD Vance. So you can see Donald Trump prefers Jared Kushner, his own son-in-law, over JD Vance, and that was just one example. The reporter suggests that Trump is actively creating a rivalry between Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio to see who might lead the Republican Party in a post-Trump era. Now, this reporter uses the example of a recent interview with Representative Lauren Boebert to frame a broader argument about the quote-unquote humiliation he believes MAGA figures endure to remain in Trump's favor. Now, before I move on and discuss more in details and what Trump said to JD Vance, the worst news possible, just to remind you, if you're not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. Let's take a look at this report from Jack first.
So JD Vance was told to get off his phone like a child in church by Susie Wiles. And it's because he's constantly bickering, starting fights, lashing out, and humiliating Donald Trump, although it is difficult to do that any more than JD Vance already has. But this is the guy that he is. He is a little petulant child. He is a whiner. He is a complainer. He wags his finger down at you. The man constantly talks about how regular conservative guys like him are being suppressed all the time, while he actively attacks free speech and uses his platform as the vice president of the United States to do so. Also, JD, you're not normal. You're a fucking weirdo, which is why Donald Trump, in a clip that is recirculating because of the article from the New York Times that we're going to get to in a second, also is kind of tired of hearing from JD. This maybe it was a joke. It didn't seem like one. It seemed like it was coming from a real place from Trump. Yeah. Listen to what he had to say on camera.
Okay, so basically the rift is coming not just in terms of internal policies, because they have big difference, JD Vance and Donald Trump, but also international politics. We know JD Vance opposed Iran war. He still doesn't like what United States is doing right now in Iran. Of course, that is going to make Donald Trump mad at JD Vance, who doesn't want to take any, opposing views on this matter of Iran. But let's take a listen at this video clip first.
The equivalent of a vice president. I said, "Are you going to answer my question?" And he's like, he doesn't move. I said, "What's wrong with this guy?" "I will answer all questions." Why don't you behave like that? JD doesn't behave like that. JD buds into conversations. I want to have that for at least a couple of days, okay, JD? We'll keep you long term, but a couple of days of that would be very, very nice. Okay, I want to thank you, and we'll talk a little bit. And I see they set me up with a podium. I thought I'd just be sitting, but it's probably easier. I want to thank you all very much. Thank you to the president.
Why won't you behave, JD?
Okay, so yeah, why won't you behave, JD? But that was a public humiliation. If you have a little bit of understanding of the situation that you just saw, JD Vance was humiliated by Donald Trump on camera in front of so many people. Can you imagine what he does to JD Vance behind closed doors when he's in private meeting with him? This is the reality of United States presidency is today, that the president, vice president, they're not getting along. They're fighting and fighting and fighting. Let's take a listen at this one.
According to insider leaks, the Donald is having doubts about the JD, and I have the story and who JD should be watching out for coming up next. Vance was an unknown before Don Jr. recommended him to Don Sr., and the latter sized him up as someone who could connect him to a younger audience and the big money of Silicon Valley. But JD just doesn't have the reality TV celebrity appeal that the base craves, and his stock keeps dropping month over month. Consider his recent appearance at the Air Force Academy graduation, where he went from cringe to awkward in the blink of an eye. Stu Peters described the cringe this way: Vance is so accustomed to being booed during public appearances that he's now preemptively telling his audiences not to boo him.
This is the only commencement speech that I'm giving this year, and so I've watched a few highlights of graduation speeches where this or that corporate leader will discuss artificial intelligence, AI, and be met with literal boos. Now, you can't boo me. I'm the Vice President of the United States.
And Stephen...
Okay, so, I mean, come on, JD Vance, come on. Don't stoop down to that level. He is just telling people, please do not humiliate me. Please, I'm being bullied by my boss. I can't take it no more. I need some positivity in my environment. But that was the message, and he's not getting it whatsoever. Now, JD Vance, what else do we know? Let's take a listen.
Why won't you shut up? Why do you always have to get input? Why do you always have to chime in? Why do you continue to talk? That is the feeling that Donald Trump has about his own vice president, the guy who's got to butt in, who's got to offer up his 2 cents, who's got to complain on Twitter. And there is no one who complains online more in the history of complaining online than Donald Trump. So if he is tired of JD Vance, yeah, I think that is a bad sign for his political prospects. But what is worse is the rest of this New York Times reporting that outlined the rift between him and him being Vance and Trump, what his political prospects look like in the future, and other problems. Again, I want to cover this. Stick around for Lauren Boebert after. These people deserve the humiliation that they're getting. And this is the end of JD Vance.
A Japanese engineer reverse engineered.
Do you believe that JD Vance, what he said just now, Jack Rochola, I think his name, that they deserve it? Anybody who works in the Trump administration, knowing who Trump is, they do deserve this kind of treatment from Donald Trump, because they knew what they were signing up for.
Brutal Vance mockery exposed in White House leaks. Donald Trump has been busy privately venting to allies about all the things his vice president has done that suggest he might be a disaster. Disaster is the word that he has used as MAGA heir in 2028.
Wow. Wow. JD Vance is a disaster. Like, as I said in the beginning of this video, he's a disaster for Donald Trump. He's not helping Donald Trump with the situation in Iran. That's the bottom line, because this is Trump's biggest challenge he's facing at the moment, where he's stuck in this war. He doesn't know how to get an off-ramp. He has absolutely no idea how he can save his face. And JD Vance, I think, behind closed doors, reminding Donald Trump, hey, I told you do not go to this war, but you did not listen to me. And of course, that will not make Donald Trump happy at all. Subscribe for more.